My name is Vishnu, and this is all about me. Like, I have overall around close to 10 years of experience, and from that, like from the starting, I've been working on ETL tools and cloud technologies. And from the last almost 2 years, I've been working on Fabric and also providing training on Fabric and Azure. And worked on big data technologies as well. And I have like been working on Fabric from the last 2 years, delivered multiple projects as well as provided corporate trainings as well as like from side of training institute as well. Okay. And if you have any query, you can reach out to me like over the like after the session also, like over the Gmail or LinkedIn. And I have also started a YouTube channel, I think 1.5 year back. Uh, Maybe I think 2 years back only. From the last 1 year, I'm not able to put any videos on that. So if you want to go through the videos, I wanted to understand more about like how I teach and how I process, you can go through uh, this also. And let me move to the next slide. Yeah. So what all we will cover in our Microsoft Fabric training. So this is all just the you can say the high level, but we have lot of things inside, like just like Lakehouse. We'll have lot of things inside about Lakehouse, warehouse, and we'll also learn Spark. So because like Lakehouse, if you want to work on a Lakehouse, you should have a knowledge on uh, PySpark or Spark SQL or any like Java Scala. Covered the data pipeline, then we'll build a framework. So framework, what I mean is, let's suppose you need to build pipelines from a Snowflake which has almost like 200 of table, and you can so you will not build 200 pipelines, right? And out of 200, you can see like 50 tables are incremental load and 150 are full load. So you can build only two pipelines, one for full load, one for incremental load, and those two pipelines can load the data to your bronze layer as well as to your silver layer. Okay, so that will build, and we'll learn about how you can use shortcuts from like different like within the lakehouse, like uh, selecting the ADL's location or lake warehouse, like accessing the warehouse inside a lakehouse or accessing the lakehouse inside a warehouse. And we'll learn about incremental load uh, over the data pipeline as well as the on the data flow gen 2 in both lakehouse and the warehouse itself. And we'll also use load the data from the REST APIs also. And then we'll learn about Power BI. So if you are aware about Power BI, that is fine. If you are not, then it's also fine, because we'll have at least I think 5 to 7 session on Power BI where I'll cover the basic and some advanced techniques also. And if you are and also for about PySpark and Spark SQL, if you already know, that's good. If you don't know, that's fine. I have around 8 to 10 sessions which I've designed for learning the PySpark, which you required for developing the code in PySpark or Spark SQL. And in between, we'll do some, you can say, small project, which is like building frameworks, taking the data from Snowflake or ADLS location. Once like or if once we have covered all the topics, we'll do a real time projects. Okay, after that, we'll also learn about Microsoft Fabric deployment pipeline. So what I mean is, through a deployment pipeline, it's not Azure DevOps. Okay, it's not Azure DevOps. Azure DevOps, if you want to learn Azure DevOps, it will require at least 2 to 3 months to learn the DevOps only. Okay, so that DevOps part is generally covered by the infrastructure team. It's not covered by the data engineers. Okay, or maybe the data architect you can consider. So we'll learn about Microsoft Fabric deployment pipeline, which is a manual way. Okay, the automated way will be designed by the infrastructure team. So we generally have a separate team for that. Okay, And we'll also learn about um, how you can, like, these are the bonus things which I'll cover: mirroring of the database and how you can use a real-time data. And I'll also provide a guidance on clearing the DP600 and DP700. So if you want to clear the DP600, you need to, like, I'll provide the uh, sessions on Power BI, but you need to learn more from your side also. Like theoretical knowledge, you need to know about the Power BI. And for DP700, whatever we are covering, everything will be covered for the DP700. It might be a scenario, some new topics they will incorporate in the DP700. I'll try to cover those as well, but almost 90% will be covered in the DP600 as well as the DP700. So the 10% part is a theoretical which you need to go through before appearing for the certification. Okay. And apart from this, just a second. These are some concepts which I'll cover, like what is a staging area, what is a reporting layer, and what is a Medallion architecture. We'll build the Medallion architecture within our project also, and what are the slowly changing dimensions. So we'll implement all of them, SCD1, SCD2, and what is a lakehouse, warehouse, data lake. And we'll also learn basic about data modeling when we are going to learn the Power BI. Because if you want to learn the data modeling, you need at least 3 to 4 months to learn the data modeling in detail. But I'll try to cover the basic of the data modeling which is required in Power BI. Okay, so these are the topics which we'll cover. Now, let me come to the part where what exactly is a Microsoft Fabric and how it got evolved. So, so earlier we had Azure Cloud, okay, and on the Azure Cloud we have multiple data engineering services. One of them is like Azure Data Factory, which is kind of an ETL tool or ELT tool, you can say. Then we have databases also, okay, and we have Azure Data Explorer, which is which is used for real-time data processing. We also have lakehouses also and warehouses also, okay, and Azure event hubs and all that stuff also we have. So this all was incorporated inside a Synapse, okay. These are different, and Synapse has all the things inside it, okay, like ADF it has, uh, warehouse it has, lakehouse it has. You can use Azure Data Explorer as well, and KQL queries as well, and you can use real-time streaming as well. And also you can connect to the Power BI. So everything was there within the Synapse. But Synapse was a product as okay, products as a services where you need to like integrate systems with each other. Like you need to integrate an ADF with the uh, different storage locations and all that stuff. So you need to integrate. You need to create link services, connections, and all that stuff. And you need to integrate those systems with each other, and you need to manage that. Okay, so the integration you need to do. And now they have evolved it and then created it up. And earlier we also have a Power BI, which is a reporting tool. So what they did, they added the capabilities of Synapse plus Power BI and created Microsoft Fabric. And also they added the capabilities of AI also. Here also you can do machine learning and all that stuff. So they have added that those particular features here. So they called it as a software as a service where everything is integrated with each other. So everything what I mean is, so let's suppose we have a lakehouse, warehouse, data pipeline, and data flow gen 2 and all that. Those are highly integrated with each other. You don't need to kind of create a connection. So let's suppose for you created a lake house L1. So the connection will automatically get created for a lake house in dev environment, or if you proceed in test on prod, so that will be created. And you can use that particular connection within the data flow or data pipelines. So those services which are used within the fabric will be highly integrated with each other. Okay. So if I go here, so you can see uh, we have data factory, which is data pipeline, and in Synapse data engineering, you will see data flow Gen 2, data flow Gen 1, Lakehouse, and here like you can use the notebook Lakehouse to build the machine learning models and all that stuff. We also have a warehouse, and for real-time streaming, we have event house and KQL databases, and we also have Power BI data activator, and there are a couple of things which they have added. One is SQL database they have added, user data functions they have added recently, and there are other AI stuffs also there. So in our session, we will be focusing on data engineering, not even a data science or AI. So we'll be focusing on a data engineering, which covers lakehouse, warehouse, data pipeline, data flow Gen 2, and Power BI, T-SQL notebooks, and some basics of real-time streaming also, which is available in the uh, Microsoft Fabric. So this everything stores the data in the OneLake. So what exactly is a OneLake is? So I think everyone will be aware about OneDrive, right? So how this OneDrive, right? So for an organization, we have a common OneDrive, and we have different users like user one, user two, user three. Okay, and they have their own space. Okay, inside a OneLake. So they store their data in their system in their own like you can say the kind of a you can say space which is provided by the company to them. So they store their information here like in the OneDrive. Let's suppose if a user two wants to get some data from the user one. So generally what you can do, either you can send it over the email, or you put it in a folder and put it in a folder and provide access to the user two. Okay. So this is an ideal way where you don't need to move the data and you don't need to make a copy of the data, right? You can just provide the access to the user to, and the user to can access this data without making a copy of it, right? So if you send it over a email like he needs to download it and then, or maybe that particular user save it in OneDrive. So we'll have a multiple copies of that. Okay. So you can access this data and then you can copy the particular data which is required. Let's suppose I have multiple sheets in an Excel. Okay. I don't record all the sheets, right? I need the data of this particular sheet. I can copy the data or maybe download this file and use that particular only from here. Or maybe I don't need to download it. I can simply access this particular sheet and use it for my purpose. Okay. So we can just simply provide the access, or let's suppose user three also want to use that particular data, you can provide the access. No need to move the data here and there, right? So the same functionality we use in a OneLake also. And this OneLake will be a single for a particular tenant. Okay, so I'll come to the part what is a tenant and all that stuff. So let's suppose we have teams. Okay, team one, team two, and team three. So they have their own workspace. I'll come to the part what is a workspace. Okay, they have their own workspace. Okay, W2, W1, and W3. So team has built their own lakehouse L1, warehouse, and multiple lakehouses also, multiple warehouses, and KQL database also K1, K2, and they have built some data pipelines also, Dataflows into also. Those are some ingestion and notebooks also. Okay. So the data will be stored inside Lakehouse, Warehouse, or KQL and SQL database. Okay, SQL database. So these are the four which can store the data. So the data will be stored in a OneLake. So let's suppose this is the space which has been assigned for this particular workspace, and those Lakehouse, Warehouse, KQL database, and SQL database will store the data in that particular one storage part of the OneLake. And same for team 2 also. So they have their different lake houses, okay, like L3, L4 warehouses. Okay, they store their data here. Same for this team 3. They store their data here. Now, if I need, like let's suppose if I team 2 required some data. So let's suppose they are getting sales data, or they have some marketing data, or they have some B2B, some other data. So I'm just taking an example like marketing team wants to use some data from the sales team. So instead of, and they have a source, you can say some Oracle database or something like that. From there, we are taking that particular data. Okay. So one way is this marketing team go to the source system and then build some data pipeline and store the data. But the problem is we will have the duplicate copies of that particular data. Let's suppose if I have a table T1 and which is sales table, I can see this table which we have already copied for the this, and I want to use this particular table here as well. So either I build a pipeline and copy this table here, or this team one can provide the access on this T1 and they can access this particular table. So once the access is provided, you can use this table here directly as a shortcut. So if I take an example, let's suppose if I write a query, so this table was in a lake house, okay, and I need to select this table. So what, how I can write it? Like I'm using in a lake house 3, but this table would exist in a lake house 1. So I can just simply write select star from L1 dot table name T1. Okay, and I'll be able to access this through shortcut. Okay, or not short, not even shortcut. Let's suppose you just provided the access on that particular table, you will be able to see Lakehouse L1 here. And inside the Lakehouse, not all the table. Let's suppose if I have table T1, T2, T3, T4, T5, five tables are there, but I provided access on this one only. So you will be able to see this one only. Okay. I don't need to move the data here and there through data pipeline. I don't need to copy this table again and again. I just provided the access. And let's suppose this table has hundreds of columns. So those 100 column will be visible here. Like if you provide the access all over all the column, and according to that, I can do the analysis over this data. Let's suppose I need to do some data transformations where I need to use only 10 columns and some group by and all that stuff. After doing the transformation, then I can store it in my lakehouse. Okay, I don't need to copy this particular data. Okay, so this is the main feature of the Microsoft Fabric. Okay, where everything is stored in a one lake. You just provide the access and everyone can use the data. Okay, this is the main USP of like using the Microsoft Fabric. And another one is it's a software as a service, which is a, like everything is interconnected with each other, where we don't need to maintain so many things for the connections. Obviously, the we need to maintain, we need to create the connection where we have services outside, where we need to get the data from outside services like REST APIs, which is outside of the Fabric, or Oracle database, or maybe like SQL database, which is outside of the Fabric, or with, or maybe Redshift or other databases. Okay, so for that obviously we need to create a connection. But if we have the data inside the a lake house or the warehouse within the Fabric, you don't need to create a connection. Just there, the pre connection will be created for lake house and warehouses also, and you can use that connection itself. Okay. Now let me come to the part on Azure. Like there were a couple of things which I need to discuss on Azure. So it's a cloud platform, just like your like AWS, GCP, Oracle, and other. We have other cloud platforms also. So what exactly is a cloud? Earlier we have on-premises systems. So what is an on-premises? Let's suppose I have a company A, okay, which has their own, you can say, servers. So servers will be nothing but it is a combination of multiple machines. So machines like those are interconnected with each others, and over those servers you do the works like all the like managing the data, storing the data, and do all the computation and all that stuff. Okay. So what are these machines? So these are nothing but it's just like your computer, okay, or maybe just like your laptop, which has like CPU, RAM, and storage, or you can say hard disk. Each machine will have this, like let's suppose if I have 8 GB RAM or 16 core and 2 TB hard disk. Okay, so these machines will have that, you can say, configuration, and those will be connected to each other. So it might be a scenario we'll have hundreds of machines which are connected to each other, and they are performing these operations. Okay, we are performing the operations and storing the data and storing data. So the problem with the on-premises system was, and those are secured because those are managed by the company. Okay, no one has the access to those servers. And what the problem is, let's suppose in future I need more machines to put in or more servers to store the data because I have consumed all of the stuffs and like my process is getting slowed down. So I need more servers for that. Okay, or more machines for that. So I need to buy those commodity hardware. So I need to buy those hardwares and then need to plug in them and need to manage that. Also, I also need to manage those servers, right? So that is again a cost for us. Let's suppose in future I don't require those machines. So what should I do? I can't sell them. So they those will be residing there on. Okay. So in that case, like buying and managing those machines and server. So these cloud, like the companies come up with a thing called cloud. So what exactly it is? So these data centers and servers will have the same things. Okay, machines and all that stuff, data racks and all that stuff. It will be managed by, like I'm talking about Azure, Microsoft. Okay, and then you will that will be available over the internet, and you don't need to manage. You don't need to worry about how you will get the more servers or like more CPU or RAM. You just buy it, and that will be available within like minutes to you. You don't need to worry about it. Okay, like how it has been managed at the back end. Okay, and if you don't require it, you can say remove that particular part, and that will be removed from the back end. So you don't need to worry about anything like managing the servers and buying commodity hardware and plug in those hardware. So you don't need to worry about it. Everything will be managed by the Microsoft in Azure, and you will be able to access that over the internet. You just need to pay what you use. Okay, and they also uh, provide the securities also, so you can secure your uh, uh, like servers and all that stuff. Okay, so this is the difference between an on premises and cloud. Okay, and inside the Azure we have tenant and subscription, resource group, then applications. Oh, okay, so this is the hierarchy. Okay, so tenant will be can be multiple, but generally each company have a single tenant. So if I take an example of, let's suppose, EY TCS, so they generally have like a TCS.com, EY.com. They have a single tenant. Okay, and inside that they can have multiple subscriptions. So subscription according to the different teams also, like one for sales, one for marketing, one for B2B, or maybe like according to different needs they can have their subscriptions. So inside the subscription you will have your resource groups. So resource group you can have like one for dev, one for test, and one for uh, pre-prod, and one for prod. Okay, these are different environment. So if let's suppose if I have created a resource group, inside that I have a Azure Data Factory, Azure Synapse, I have uh, ADLS, I have locations, blob storage, I have. These are the different services, data applications which we can have inside a resource group. Okay, so this is kind of a you can say a package you can have, which will which can like you can have those application and you can put it in a single resource group. Okay, so if you need to access that particular resource group, you can, or you need to access like ADLS location within the tab, you go to that resource group and access that. So these are the this will be the hierarchy within the Azure. So this Microsoft Fabric, how you create it, how you create that particular application, you will have a tenant, you will have a subscription, you will have a resource group. So maybe like you can create a separate resource group for that, or you can have a dev, like you can have a separate resource group, maybe like Microsoft Fabric resource group. Just give the name to that, and inside that you can create that application, which is Fabric. Okay, once that is created, you need to assign the capacity to it. So capacity can be 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64. So as you keep increasing, it will assign you more memories and all that stuff, more servers, machines, and all that stuff. And also the cost will be increased. Okay. So let's suppose this will have the minimum cost as compared to other one, and also will have less servers, and you can say less memory and less computation power as compared to others. So we'll have more also. So for free trial, we generally get F64. Okay. So now I'll show you like how the Fabric looks like. So when you log into the app.powerbi.com, so I'll help you to kind of enable the free trial when we start the sections. So like this is a kind of a demo session, so we will not cover that particular part. So you can see we have multiple workspaces. Okay, I'll cover what exactly a workspace, and inside that you will have items like Dataflow, Gentoo, notebooks, Lakehouse, warehouse. Okay, and right now I don't have the Azure subscription; it got expired. But I think we can create it later. I think it got expired. Got expired. But once you like create a subscription, you will see the subscription, and inside that you can create multiple sources. And this is the free trial, but generally like in companies we create the fabric here and we assign the capacity, then we choose that particular capacity here. So if I show you for a particular workspace, you can see a license info, and here we choose that particular capacity. Let's suppose if I have a premium capacity, which is fabric capacity. So you can choose it from here. So right now I don't have because I have not created in a Microsoft Fabric. I'm sorry, in Azure. Once that has been created, you can assign that particular capacity. Okay. So trial is not like You don't need to pay for that. But for fabric capacity, yeah, definitely you need to pay if you choose accordingly. Let's suppose if I choose F2, so I think it has maybe like $500 per month or something like that, and F4 have maybe $1,000 or something like that, and they provide the capacity according to that. So right now I have this license, like free trial license. Okay. Now let me come to the part here. You can see uh, workspaces. Okay, by default you won't see anything. You just see this my workspace. Okay, generally we don't work with inside my workspace. We create a separate workspace, and that has been assigned to you by the admin. Or let's suppose you have your personal uh, uh, you are using the personal fabric, then you need to create a separate workspace, and inside that you can create different items. So if I show you the items, you can see new item, and here we have data pipeline, copy job, and all that stuff. Okay. So what exactly this workspace is and items, so how these has been aligned. So earlier we have Power BI. In the Power BI have a concept of workspace, and inside that you can create your Power BI reports or reports, data set, and data flow Gen 1. Now we have added the capability of Synapse, and we provided this Microsoft Fabric. Okay. So again, we are following the same approach, which we have a workspace, which is you can consider as a kind of a space for your development, like developing the things. Okay, whether it's a data engineering, data science, or AI, you can develop the things inside this particular workspace until unless like you have the access. So we provide the access to the users, and those will be able to work according inside this workspace. So we then inside, once like you have the access, you can create items. Okay, so items is nothing but your Lakehouse, warehouse, SQL database, data pipeline, data flow Gen 2. So these are all the items, okay, which we can use for data ingestion and all that stuff. Okay, now before like concluding, just wanted to give you an idea about a Medallion architecture, because we will follow this architecture while developing the, you can say, project. So generally it follow bronze, silver, and gold, and sometimes we call it as a raw, clean, and enrich, or maybe you can say maybe yeah, enrich and then prepare. Also we generally have one more layer. Okay, so you can see this one also, both raw, clean, and enrich. So what exactly this one? So when you, let's suppose, getting the data from an Oracle system, I'm just taking example, and we are taking maybe like e-commerce data or something like that, and we need to do reporting on that. So in the branch, we do generally append mode. Append, what I mean, whenever the new data, let's suppose first time we got 10 records, we'll put those 10 records. Next time we got in in the same table, which has 10 earlier, 5 new records has been added. So we'll add those 5 records here. Okay, without checking if there is any update on the old records or not. Then next time if we got 2 records, we'll update and append those 2 records. So we'll have 17 records. And from bronze to silver, what we do the apply the data quality checks. Okay, according to that, we drop those records, or you can say we highlight those particular records which are not following uh, the the structure which we have applied for data quality checks or which are not like passing those checks which we have applied. We drop those record or maybe we can mark those record as a like failing data quality checks. Okay, and here we use like SCD1 or SCD2. So what is SCD1 and SCD2? I'll come to that part. SCD1 and SCD2. So for SCD1, let me take an example. So let's suppose if I have a employee table, okay, which has ID and name, or you can say address. ID, name, and address may be like A1. Then I inserted this data into my table. This was the source, and now this is the target 1A and A1. So the next time the address has been changed to B1, or you can say A2. So what I did, I just removed the earlier address and updated to A2. And next time it has changed it to A3, then I removed this one and change it to A3. So I'll have a single row only. Okay, I'm not appending multiple rows. Okay, so this is called an SCD1 where we don't maintain any history. We are not maintaining history. Like we have like how should I know like what was the earlier address of that earlier address of the ID one? I don't know, right? I have only a single record which is having 1A and A3. Name A and A3 as an address because we have removed that data. So we don't maintain any history. And what is this SCD1 where we maintain the history on deciding based on the columns which you want to maintain the history. So let's suppose uh, same example. Okay, I'll take one more column, name, address, and salary. Now I don't want to like maintain history based on address. I want to maintain history based on salary. So let's suppose I have a even first time it has 10. Loaded the data into the target 1 and 10. Now address has been changed to A2. What I'll do, I'll replace it to A2 because I want to maintain the history based on salary, not on address. Okay. Now next time, what we did, uh, the salary has been changed from 10 to 20. So we need to maintain history, right? So what I'll do, A, and what is the recent address? A2, 20. And next time, address has been changed to A3. What I'll do, and this record will be, I'll mark it as an inactive, and this will be an active record. I'll change it to A3. Okay. And next time, if there is any change in the salary, A3, 30. So this is how I can maintain the history based on the salary. So this is which we called as STD2, where you maintain history based on a particular column, or you can maintain history based on all the columns also. I just maintain the history based on salary. Okay, it's up to you on which column you maintain it. So let's suppose here I'm following the STD1, not STD2. I'm just taking an example of STD1. So first time we have loaded 10 records. So now the next time we know in these 5 records, one record is an updated, 4 records are new. So one record was already exist here, those 10 records for which we have update. So what I'll do, I'll go and update that particular record 9 plus 1. That record I'll update and 4 record I'll insert, right? Because 4 are new, one was already there. Okay. Now in those 2 records, both 2 records are updated records. Out of those 15 records, there were which like out of those 14 records, those 2 records are already up, like the updated one. Okay. So here in the row I'm appending, but here I need to do the shut. So what I'll do, so I know like I have 9 plus 1 plus 4. So what I'll do, out of these 14 records, I have 2 records which are updated one. So final I'll have output as 40. Why I'll have 40? Because first time I got 10 records, I don't have any data, I just inserted it. And next time I got 5 records, but those 5 records, out of those 5 records, 1 record was updated one because existing one, and 4 records are new. So 4 records are new, I have just simply inserted it. but one record was already accessed. So I need to update it out of those 10 records. So 9 plus 1. Okay. Now next time those two records are updated out of those 14. So 12 records are as it is, two records I need to update. So I'll have a 14 as an output. And after this, in a prepare or you can say a cold layer, what we do once the data cleaning and all that and the DQ checks like and data cleaning also we do like we applying data checks and removing unnecessary columns also we do in the while from bronze to silver. Okay, from silver to gold, what we do, let's suppose if I have a sales table, if I have a product table, or if I have a, you can say, other like store table or something like that, we create a model inside this and okay, and we assign this model for the reporting team so that they can build the report. Okay, or here in the cold layer, generally we apply business logic. Sorry, not creating the model. We apply business logic. Once the business logic is applied, then you can create another layer, which is a reporting layer, or you can say gold layer. And here you provide it the reporting team. Okay, in the gold layer, we apply the business logic. Here we apply the data quality checks and removing unnecessary data cleaning. And here we apply business logic. Once that has been applied, we provide it to the prepare. We do the prepare layer or reporting layer, and we provide it to the power, or you can say BIT. Okay, any BI tools which you have. So now let me move here. And apart from this, this session will be for, or like this training will be for data engineers, senior data engineers, as well as for data architects. So let's suppose if you have a 10, over 10 plus years of experience, you can show yourself as a Microsoft Fabric data architect. If you're below than that, you can call yourself as a data engineer also. I'll help you to design the flow, like for the data architect, I'll help you to design the flow, how you can design the solutions in the Fabric. And obviously, like data engineer also can learn that and they can use that particular part.